What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from?
Name's Aubry. I am 43 years old and I'm from Edmond, Oklahoma.
And what do you do?
I am a realtor.
Got it.
And a mom.
And yeah, 2 full-time jobs, right?
Yes, 2 full-time jobs.
Mommy and realtor. During this time, so you've lost a total of 100. I think you topped out at 102,
102 is the max.
102 is the max, and that took you 50. We said 56 weeks, right? Yeah, it was 50. It was
Yes.
56 weeks. So during this time, what were some of your big breakthroughs for yourself, and specific results that you've gotten from the academy?
I think some of my big breakthroughs were I had to get out of my own way. I had to get outside of my head and stop believing the things that I couldn't do because I didn't have time, because I didn't, that's just not me. Everything that you told me to do, and is when I had success, and that was in being consistent and being honest with myself about my behavior and the things that I thought.
So you did have time, right?
I did have time.
Wait, what were the other few that you said?
Well, I just had to be honest with myself about what I was doing, and the things that I was telling myself about me. I was giving myself a lot of excuses on why I was the way that I was and the weight that I was, being a busy mommy and working full time and having to take care of everybody.
Mm-hmm. This is a common challenge, is like a lot of our moms specifically, is that they're always doing and taking care of everything and everybody else, and then they're putting themselves on the back burner. And that was kind of, how would you relate to that situation?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. And I thought that that was kind of noble thing to do. And the right thing to do is to put everybody before me, make everyone happy, and not be honest and ignore how I felt.
Not be honest and ignore how you felt. How'd you feel?
I felt horrible. I felt sad. I felt angry, embarrassed, about myself. And so I was just like spinning my wheels, doing all these things for everyone else, and knowing in the back of my head that I was ignoring my own needs, but just not willing to face them or do something about them. Just adding excuse on excuse for that.
What were some of the things that you were struggling with before starting the program?
Well, do you mean like, well, my weight? I was overweight,
Mm-hmm.
and I was exhausted and tired. I was depressed, if I'm being honest. A lot of people will admit their anxiety, but they don't want to pair the depression with them. But I was angry and depressed. Mm-hmm. And to me, everything was hard. Everything was hard. And I think that's just what led me to my breaking point of, like, not throwing around, but you hit your rock bottom. I mean, I just hit my rock bottom, and I just couldn't imagine doing it anymore. That I just was ready to do. I was ready to be honest. I was ready to face, what was it going to take to get me out of this situation?
What was it going to take? Yeah. So it's kind of, this is a thing about
do other things. I volunteer at school. I can solve problems. And so I think that was creeping in the back of my head. Like, you can help yourself. You can find someone to help you, And so I was just ready to get to that point.
Well, even leading up to that, what were the things that you were skeptical of?
Well, one of the things that I was telling myself is that, you're lazy. You're you're too tired for that. You cannot be all consumed with fitness and food. Like, that's not you. You could never live that life. That will be too hard. You know, and just looking at the sacrifices of like everything that's fun and happy goes around food. And so what will you do if you know, how will you have fun? How will you be happy if you aren't eating and drinking? And so I was really scared about what will I have to sacrifice, and what will I give up for that? And so that made me nervous and scared.
And in your head, that sacrifice was, it sounds like that sacrifice was, you're worried about sacrificing fun.
Yeah. Like, okay, if you want to be something, then you're gonna have to give it all up. It's gonna be all or nothing. And you know, it'll be a different kind of sad for you, I guess. I don't know, you know.
A different kind of sad. That's cute.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's like I'm this, but it's like I'm gonna get healthy, but then I'm gonna be sad anyways because I won't be able to, like you said, eat and drink and find my happiness in food. And what have you learned? Like,
Yes.
so that was what you were skeptical. And what did you learn and realize?
That none of that is true. None of that is true. Now, it was incredibly hard work. I mean, I put in hard work, and I changed so many things that even I surprised myself that I was able to change. But I found that none of those things were true. Those were all lies I was telling myself. Those were all excuses that were keeping me back. That was me being in my head. And sometimes I got to the point where I was so surprised that it was embarrassing. Like, oh my gosh, like, you should have done this earlier. You should have done this earlier, because this is not hard. Yeah. And I remember telling a friend, I think I told before, I mean, I would have done the craziest thing that you told me to do. I would have like put on like a garbage suit thing and run. I mean, I would have done all the crazy things. And to hear how simple it was and how logical it was and approachable it was, it is what it was a aha moment for me.
And so, and that was huge what you just said, but like what you're like, oh, I could have done this so long ago. Now it's either A, you didn't understand it, didn't know it, didn't have the correct education, whatever it may be, but like, what do you feel was the thing that was holding you back from taking action sooner?
It was, for me, I didn't do it sooner because I just wasn't ready. It was a false narrative. I wasn't ready to change. And I wasn't ready to do what I thought would be harder and more difficult. But what I know now is that all those things I was doing for 10, after having 10, 15 years, that was more difficult than what I'm doing now. And so that's kind of disappointing, but it's a revelation that I've had, and I'll never go back there, because now I know what's really hard and what's really difficult to do, and how you really give up your fun. It is literally just 180. It's been flipped. And so now the things I do, old me would have been like, oh, that's so sad and boring, and you know what I mean? And new me is like, this makes me happy, and this makes my family happy, and this gives me so many more opportunities. It's exponential. Fitness and nutrition is, for me, is a base, and it has affected my life exponentially. So it has affected everything else I do, or the knowledge then, because like I said, I feel like I'm a smart problem solver. If I knew that I could change so many other parts of my life by doing some of these things, I mean, I would have done them earlier. So it's about knowing. And like, for me, false narratives are strong. I've been telling myself lies for a very long time. And that's something that's hard to overcome.
How long do you think that narrative was?
Oh, it had to have been probably like right after college, when for me, when I started putting on weight, when you kind of just lose that natural, you can stay up till 5 a.m. doing a paper and then like eat McDonald's 3 times a day. So just when that weight started to come on, and then of course, after my getting pregnant for the first time. And so just when I think that we probably don't have good enough knowledge about food and nutrition to begin with. So kind of when our natural metabolism starts to change, you just kind of, you don't know what to do. And I'm like, yeah, this is this is what our bodies do. You know what I mean? And this is how we're supposed to look. And this happens to us. It may not happen to other people, but so just began that. And then, like I said, just layered excuse. I work all the time. Now I have one kid. Now I have two kids. Now it's, you know, it's super easy to lie. I'm a really good liar to myself.
Layered excuses. I think that's a term that I never heard before, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And they get heavier and heavier. And then even if you were to remove one or another, there's more there for you. So even when I stopped working full time in the law office and did real estate, you know, that gave me more time.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just another excuse there for me. You know, I could have gone to the gym. I could have did this. Now I don't have to work 8 to 5. I have my own schedule. But there was something else there that was keeping me back.
What finally convinced you to take action? I'm like, it's like, I'm doing it.
Well, it was right before the holidays and it was during COVID. And so that was a lot of time spent in isolation. And I think that a lot of it for me was there was less distractions for me. Being isolated, being home with my family, and I think that's what made me the emotions were big because I wasn't able to distract myself with volunteering here, going here, doing that, you know, work slowed down. And so I just remember a couple of days seeing some of your new inner academy stuff come up. And I was just like, yep, I'm going to give David a call and see what he's doing, because that looks interesting to me. And that looks like something I need to be doing. So, but I had no idea that it would come to this.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing though?
It is amazing.
Absolutely. And like relative, like you said, even like, oh, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Because, you know, I am a hard worker. I can solve problems. I just hadn't applied those character traits to like solving my own problem.
Right.
And then now you had, and it's like obviously getting the support, getting the accountability, getting the structure. Obviously that helps. But it even says you had to make a decision to reach out and get those things too as well. It all came down to that decision.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, layered excuses, COVID, all that stuff. And then you said getting to your rock bottom point, and it's like, man, you recognized that you needed to do something for sure. Right. And you said it's like, it's been exponentially, it's improved your life exponentially in all these other areas. It's like, how has it impacted those other areas of your life?
Because I did not realize, I think, how much being overweight and being unhealthy was consuming me of emotional space in my head. And so, and that was heavy. And so as that, I think, lessened and I became happier and healthier, then I had time to do things that I wanted to do. And they may sound, you know, silly to some people, but like I used to call the laundry like the laundry monster. I would do like laundry like 7 hours at a time. And now, I mean, for almost like 8 months, we have had no laundry because I do it every day. Or I play with my kids. I get on the floor because it's not embarrassing, because it's not hard. Also, my timing skills are just like amazing. We go on trips that we used to like almost file for divorce right before we get in the car. And then now it's just like, we're ready to go. We're early. We're on time. We haven't forgotten anything. So I have opened up in my brain a lot of space that was taken up by all that negativity and all that emotion about thinking about what I'm going to wear, what I look like, what people think about me, you know, and so I can use that to make my life better.
Your mind was occupied by a lot of negative head trash.
Absolutely.
And so once as we started to dump out that trash, it made more room for X, Y, and Z. And then that led to, like I said, you being able to do all the things that you just mentioned too as well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And some of those things I don't know, for me, it's not like I saw those on the horizon, that I knew that those were even goals to work towards. So they're just like really wonderful rewards that you probably wouldn't have been able to like put on a list. And
Yeah,
so to me, it's like a bonus, and it's reaffirming, it pushes you forward. You know, it's really awesome.
I love that. And that's even the things, like some of the things that you didn't even think about. You didn't know that, like, getting all this stuff together is like, well, it's going to help with this over here. It's also going to help with this over there. Like that wasn't even on your radar.
Not
Right.
at all. Not at all. Yeah.
But it has impacted all and it's just cool to hear too as well. And like there's so many, and the thing about it is like there's so many people, not even women or moms, but like so many people, women, mothers, fathers, that are dealing with the same thing as you were.
Hmm.
And like what would your message flat out like be to those people?
I think my message would be, even though it sounds cliche, but like, you have to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
You are, it reminds me of, like, when we say like we're only as strong as our weakest link, like you are the weakest link if you feel how I felt. And so even if it seems like it's impossible, even if it feels like that is not 100% like planned out perfect, I can do this, take the jump, take the leap. It's my favorite lyric to a song: take the jump and the net will appear, because that's what it did for me. So nothing is ever going to be the right time, the right, the perfect time. And so because that's my regret, I should have leaped a long time ago. And so take the leap and do all the things and be the strongest link. Don't be the weakest link in your family or your relationship, or just even for yourself. And so it's the best thing that I've ever done for myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a long list of things that I have done for other people and my family. The list of things that I have done for myself is very short.
Yeah.
And so I'm done having a short list for me. And this is the first one on there. And it's going to be a long list from here on out. And so.
And having that mentality has led you to be able to do, like I said, accomplish and do things that you weren't doing in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Or struggled doing. Right.
Right.
So
and I know, and so that's what I would tell people, is to do it. Because I mean, you can't get back time. It's the only resource that we cannot replace. And I can't imagine if I did this when I was 30, you know what I mean? And so, but that's okay. You better start somewhere, and so it's going to be amazing. This is only 1 year. This is just 1 year.
That's even the thing, because we've gone through, so it's been over 56 months. We've gone through Thanksgiving, we've gone through Christmas, we've gone through birthday, we've gone through anniversary, we've gone through vacation, you've gone through 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, like you've had an entire calendar year of events. You've gone on multiple vacations, you've been out of town, you've had the holidays, like, and you said there's never a perfect time. You just gotta, like I said, you just gotta jump, and you jumped. And so I said, who would you recommend to this program? Like who needs like, man, this type of person needs this type of help? Who would that be? Who comes to them? Not like personally, you got some ideas in your head, but like what that type of person who needs something like this, who would you recommend to the program?
I feel like I have to talk about what I know. And so what I know is like working moms, because I know where we're all at. And even if some of us are better than others of putting ourselves a little first, and not quite. I mean, I'm an S personality, so like I'm hardcore on the putting everybody else first. But I think that it's the hardest for us, that sometimes we have to have somebody to remind us to put ourselves first. I don't think it's a natural thing that comes to us. So that's when I think about this, I think about moms, I think about working moms, and women, of course, but I mean, it's for everyone. It's for everyone, because I think it is a deficiency of what we need to know about food and nutrition. There's certain things that I've learned when we've got older that we just don't get taught. And so if you don't have parents that teach you this, school systems don't teach you this, if you don't have a friend that teaches you this is things you don't know. And so you are completely ill-informed, and you're doing all the weird things that other people are telling you to do, or the fad things. I mean, I could be a professional amateur dieter. I mean, I have done all things, you know what I mean? And so I think that's why this was so surprising to me, because I've done really dumb, hard, expensive things. And I am doing, these results are coming from eating real food, from doing regular, normal people exercise, and I've lost 100 pounds. And so, like, if you would have said that to me a year ago, I'd be like, well, that doesn't sound right. You know, like, I need you to give me some medicine and some weird diet, and you want me to, like, you know, do
Elaborate.
some weird exercise, and, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
that me and my brain is like, that's what it's probably going to take,
yeah,
not these very simple, easy, approachable things.
yeah. Sexy, elaborate, magical bullets.
Yeah.
Really,
Bird,
yeah.
birds. I have bird, you know, things like that. So.
And that's it. That you've done awesome. I know you're proud of yourself. I know that your family's proud of you. Um, I know that you've been very. I've been very impressed, and a lot of your friends and coworkers and you just associates have been very, very impressed. And like I said, you've only been at it for 56 weeks. And that's what's so crazy. Is like this game is never going to be won. It's only played, and that's the ironic thing about this is like it just keeps going. And so if it's a lifestyle that you want to emphasize, you just keep it simple and consistent, like we've always talked about, and you keep just cranking out. And I'm very proud of you. It was a one hell of a year.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Like standing ovation, right? Standing ovation. So I was like, I'm 100 pounds in 56 weeks. So I'm super, super proud of you. I want to wish you a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, a happy New Year.
Thank you.
And then, like I said, Mommy Makeover 2022, right?
Oh yeah, here we come.
I love it.